and their upcoming off season. Get started in 3, 2, 1. All right, so the Hawks, they come off of a season where they play the Milwaukee Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals. They advanced farther in the playoffs than I personally imagined. I thought they would probably go 7 with the Knicks and beat them. I never thought or never really imagined that they would beat Philadelphia. If you watched kind of how the Hawks season worked last year after they fired Lloyd Pierce, they actually they got better. I believe it was on offense. They got better on offense. They were always a solid defensive team as far as effective field goal percentage. As far as that's concerned, they were a solid defensive team. And people who want to argue that, again, they beat the Sixers, who were one of the better teams in the East, top seed in the East. So very interesting, to say the least. Did not mean to rhyme there. Let's just hop right into the Hawks, though. This team has a big decision to make, and it's not Lou Williams, who I think they could bring back, but maybe Lou wants to go to a contending team. Could Lou say, I want the vet minimum and I want to go to LA, the Lakers, or to the Brooklyn Nets, to the Bucks, whoever it may be. The team has the Hawks have a lot of guys under contract. The key players from their run in the playoffs: Gallinari, Bogdanovich, Clint Capella, DeAndre Hunter, Trae Young. Okongwu got injured and will miss some of next year. A little concerning, but you got to hope that he gets healthy and is able to contribute next year. Cam Reddish, we'll talk about him. There have been some trade rumors about Cam Reddish. We'll get into those. The big move here, also it's worth noting here, also Kevin Huerter will be on the team next year. Worth an extension as well, so they will have to pay him. But let's talk about who they would want to extend or who they may not want to extend in restricted free agency in John Collins. So John Collins is going to hit restricted free agency. I haven't heard too many things, and we'll look into it a little bit more, but I haven't heard anything solid from teams that want him in restricted free agency, because again, remember, the team will have to pay him, and then if the Hawks decide not to pursue him and to match the offer sheet that the other team set, then obviously the team loses him. He goes back to Atlanta. So it's going to take a big offer, in my opinion, for a team to say, okay, we want John Collins and we want to pay him so much that the Hawks just won't want to have to, overpay for him, because there is some hesitancy from Atlanta about trying to make this move. And trying to keep him, trying to retain Collins and have him be a part of the future. I think he's got potential. He has some 3-point shooting skills. Obviously, he gets rebounds. He's a guy who's a threat for a 20 and 10 type of a game. So he is valuable. The one thing I would like to say though about him is that there are potential issues with some defense for him. He's not necessarily a stretch 4, but he's also not at the same time like a guy who's only playing inside all the time. So I do feel like him and Trae Young have a connection, but do the Hawks sacrifice the connection in order to free up more money and kind of do something there? The interesting thing about Atlanta is that they do have a good amount of money going to their players. Trae Young will be extended. Another guy that will be extended will be, like we already had mentioned, was Kevin Huerter. So those two guys are going to be extended. Now their money is going to hit next year, not this upcoming 2021-22 season, but next year in 2022-23. They will be guys that will be on a higher pay scale. They will be paid a lot more. So going into this offseason, is there a move that you can make to be able to get maybe a good contract long term, or are you fine with kind of how the roster is built and just maybe bring back Lou Williams? You bring back Cam Reddish, you re-sign John Collins for whatever. We'll see what Atlanta's front office wants to do. It will be super interesting to see what they decide. Let's look at their picks here real quick. Atlanta owns all of their picks. This is a sign to me that the front office just is smart. Because is there a way where Atlanta could say we're going to trade 20 and next year's pick and you know who else? Gallinari to be able to get somebody better? Is that an option? Can that happen? Other than that, though, they will have an Oklahoma City first round pick. Otherwise, it will convert. Yeah, so it actually probably will be, unless the Thunder make the playoffs, they'll probably they probably won't. But if they were to make the playoffs, the Hawks would get their pick. But it looks like we're headed towards that being a 2024, 2025 second rounders from Oklahoma City. So let's hop into Hawks rumors. And let's go ahead and address what is going on with the Atlanta Hawks. So the Hawks, we mentioned a little bit about Cam Reddish. Cam Reddish is on the trade market, it looks like. An Athletic report comes out and says the Hawks, who were listening to inquiries on Cam Reddish prior to the trade deadline in March, remain willing to listen to offers on Reddish and have been taking calls on the young forward. Report from Kirshner from the Athletic. So he played really he played good in that one. I think it was game four in Atlanta. He was definitely kind of showed out after not really getting much minutes during the season. I think there is some potential there, but I also wonder if he's ready for a different scene, for a different team. So yeah, the Cam Reddish deal. What can you get for Cam Reddish? I don't know. Is his market value that high? Probably not. I mean, I don't think a team's going to get too enamored or fall too in love with him just because he had a good couple games in the playoffs. I think teams will see potential, but is the asking price too much? Chris Dunn will exercise his player option. Look, this is a guy who I actually think the Hawks probably will cut, to be honest with you. Looking at Dunn's contract for next year, he's owed $5 million. Not horrible, but also he didn't really play at all. So I don't know exactly what, obviously Dunn needs the guaranteed money, so he's fine with accepting his deal. But at the same time, that could be moved, that could be waived, or he could be waived, and we'll kind of just see how that goes moving forward. Cameron Thomas, the LSU shooting guard, has been linked to the Hawks. An Athletic report. Let's see. All right, so here's another good report by Kirshner from the Athletic. So John Collins opted not to accept the 4-year, $90 million contract extension during the 2020 offseason. So again, let's do quick math here, and since I'm bad with that, let's go 90 divided by 4. It's about $23 million a year. Does he get a better offer out in a restricted free agency? We'll see. I mean, that's really interesting that he would turn that down, but he did. He's gonna again try to capture as much as he can, and I think they should try to retain him, because I just don't know what Atlanta's going to do to the roster to make it better, and to lose a guy who's a part of your rotation, who's a part of your starting five. Is that something Atlanta can afford? Kind of given what they were able to accomplish in last year's playoffs. This was another surprising report. We'll end on this. Is that Bradley Beal, out of hearing the Heat, the Sixers, the Warriors, the Celtics, the Lakers, the Mavericks, the Hawks were also another team that could join in on this Bradley Beal thing. It would probably take Bogdan Bogdanović, DeAndre Hunter, maybe a Kongwu, and then maybe Chris Dunn or Cam Reddish as well. So do they have the draft assets? Yes, they do. They have all their picks. Do they have the ability to trade these picks? Yes, I think they absolutely do. and they have some young players. Atlanta is an interesting spot for Bradley Beal. Could you imagine Trae Young and Bradley Beal on the same team? Wow. No defense, but probably some scorching hot offense in some games. All right, so we're going to end this stream. We have another one starting in just about 3 minutes. We are going to talk about the New York Knicks. After that, we will talk about the Dallas Mavericks and the Portland Trail Blazers. If you're watching, thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel. We're doing a lot more with the NBA offseason. We're going to be making a lot more videos, doing more streaming about the draft. Every single free agency move that is huge or that is relatively huge, we're going to be talking about it. And so yeah, put on notifications if you're subscribed. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe. It will be great. It's great for the channel. Like the video, it's great for the channel. Comment. I will 100% reach out and respond to most comments, and yeah, we'll go from there. So we're going to start our next stream in just a few moments, and yeah, feel free to join us.